So have you ever heard of the Laffer curve? I've popped it up on screen here. Unless you're really interested in economics, you might have passed this one by, but very topical based on something that's happened the last few days with tax here in Scotland. And this curve here displays the relationship between tax rates and the tax raised by governments. And there's a guy, Arthur Laffer, apparently he coined this. He was in a meeting with Donald Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney over in America at some big high-level meeting, and sketched this on a napkin and basically said there will be a tipping point. So let's have a little look at this in a little bit more detail. So nice simple curve here, bell curve at the top, and the bit that says T in the middle is basically the best tax that you can do. If you raise it further beyond that point, your tax revenue goes down. So across the bottom is tax rates, up the top is tax revenue. Obviously, if we charge 0% tax, you would get 0% revenue. But if we double taxes, instinctually that may make you think, well, we'll double the amount of tax raised, and that might be a good thing. But it doesn't, because there's a drop-off. Why? Because people will move away. They won't pay tax. They'll not spend money on things that are highly taxed. They'll circumvent this. So there is a rate here, and they've done this, and this has been tried and tested. And again, whether you the Laffer curve, this is a simplified version, guys. It has been known all over the world on many, many occasions. Once you raise tax beyond a certain level, you get less tax revenue. Why is this? And why do I say this is topical now? Well, Scotland's just raised its tax rate, or one of their many, many tax rates, to 45%. So lots of debates online. And now that you've seen the Laffer curve, you'll be able to put that into a little bit more context there. So lots of people will be chatting about this, 100% can guarantee it. Too early to tell yet, but I can guarantee people will be chatting about this. So now, very complicated tax in Scotland. As you can see, we've now got 6 rates. Why not make it 12? Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen there? So if we go back to this principle, and I'm going to take 2 crazy opposing views. On one side, the absolute crazy far left, the loony left, the socialists, the communists, any SNP supporter, they are going to state, we need to tax the rich. The rich deserve to be taxed. There should not be billionaires in the world. It's unfair. This wealth should be redistributed, and we should tax the rich at super, super high rates, like 70, 80, 90%, and redistribute that so people can get at the bottom, can get stuff for nothing. The people at the top should be taxed to pay for 90% of the other people to get shit for free. And that's one crazy view. The other side of it is we shouldn't pay tax. Capitalists, the rich shouldn't pay tax because we contribute enough. So the rich should pay less tax rates because we pay more in overall tax. And again, this would be the super far right. And actually, we shouldn't be taxed, and we shouldn't really need to raise money for people that don't work. And those guys can rot. So they're 2 opposing views. Super tax the rich, distribute the wealth. The other side, rich should not be taxed, or should be taxed at a lower rate because they're proportionally paying more. In reality, the truth will fall into the middle. The best thing will be, the most reasonable approach will be one in the middle here. But what is the perfect tax rate? Well, I definitely don't know. Despite people's chat and on Facebook, you're going to see over the next few days, nobody really knows. The SNP government certainly don't know. But what does this mean for us in property? What does it mean for people in business? And what does it mean for people in Scotland versus England? Well, here's a quick one. You're not going to be able to read that. But essentially, if you live in Scotland, you will pay more income tax than in England. I've not got a chance to put all the other taxes, but if you are in Scotland, you will pay more taxes in pretty much nearly everything in Scotland. Your additional dwelling supplement is 6% here, but it does make you think. And it's not political, but if you are banking on building a business or building a future, and all things being equal with open borders, the culture's the same, the currency's the same, absolutely everything is the same in Scotland versus England. If you're going to pay a massive amount more tax, and guys, if we look at this, there isn't a massive amount more to pay. I think it's £5,000 if you're the high rate taxpayer, and it goes up obviously because it's a percentage. So it's not catastrophic, but will putting taxes up and keep putting taxes up raise more money for Scotland and make it a better place to live? Well, I'd said at the start the Laffer curve, the previous one was a little bit more, it was a little bit simplified, but if we have a little look at this, we can see this in a little bit more detail. The green part there from 0 to, and I don't know what that number is, but there will be a number. That number will be different across the world. It will be different, even different brackets of tax. So it does get very complicated if you look into this. I did it many, many years ago during an MBA. It's the only reason I know about it, a master's degree. But at this point, here, revenue maximizing point at the top of the Laffer curve, money will go down. So really, when we think about that, if Scotland keep putting taxes up, which they will, again, and this is not a political thing, this is in no way, not SNP, not independents, don't care about any of that. It's simply financial for business people and especially people in the property industry. Question one, will the tax rises that have already happened in Scotland across income tax, business and property be positive or detrimental to people's businesses and wealth and income? That's question number one. And question number two, will the current Scottish Government keep putting taxes up or lower taxes? Will they keep trying to tax the rich more? The second one's pretty easy. They make no things about it. They make no things. They will continue to keep taxing people more and more to give more free shit away. So that's the manifesto. There's no interpretation of that. They will tax people more to give other people more free stuff. And that does create a nice society where people are looked after, like disabled people. There's hopefully better public services. And again, I'm not going to get into that, whether they are or not, but getting tax revenue to give into public services essentially is a good thing. But how does it work for business? People in Scotland now have the decision. We could have a limited company north of the border, south of the border. We're going to get treated worse north of the border and taxed more. We'll have less money to spend and reinvest into the business versus south of the border. Will people thinking of investing in Scottish property no longer do it? So looking back at this, and again, it's not about politics, not about anything else apart from economics. If we take the simplified slide here, are we now tipping over the Laffer curve, or can we tax people more and raise more money? Not just for Scotland, but in England, if we to put VAT up 5%, would that make more money or less money? Again, I'm not an economist. I don't know, but you're going to see lots of chats around this online. Definitely LinkedIn's going to be full of this. So I just wanted to make a quick explanation. I remembered something I did in my MBA. What's your thoughts on this, guys? Are we in the downward point of the Laffer curve, or should we tax people more to get more benefits, more public services, better schools, better nurses, better police? Let me know your thoughts.